Look, if the Republicans and the MAGA fans don't want to be honest with the American people, I will be. Donald Trump is coming for our rights. This is not a hypothetical or something that might happen in the future. It's happening right now before our very eyes. In the past week, Trump and his administration have made it abundantly clear that they will criminally prosecute people who use their First Amendment right to criticize him, to call out the insanity of this administration, to dissent. And that, in practice, is exactly what we saw happen tonight. I'm sure you've all seen the story about Jimmy Kimmel having his show taken off the air indefinitely by ABC and affiliates of ABC for his comments about Charlie Kirk. But there's a much deeper, more nefarious story here. It's clear that Donald Trump had a hand in this. So I'm going to play you Jimmy Kimmel's comments. We'll work through the timeline. And you can tell me down below if you think that these comments that he made about Charlie Kirk were bad enough for his show to be taken off the air. Take a look and we'll talk about it.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction. Demolition, construction.
Yeah, that's all Jimmy Kimmel said. That's it. That's it. He wasn't even making fun of Charlie Kirk or his passing. Nothing like that. He was making fun of Donald Trump. That's who he was making fun of. And so ABC and their affiliates using the justification of, oh, these comments are so disgusting and beneath us. First of all, no, they're not. They were very mild and comedians are allowed to make jokes. And second of all, if you think these comments are bad, let me introduce you to somebody by the name of Donald Trump, who has bragged about assaulting women, called his political opponents vermin, made fun of disabled reporters, and more. I mean, the list is practically a novel of Donald Trump's worst comments. But look, as I mentioned, the comments are clearly not what led to Jimmy Kimmel's show being canceled. New reporting from the Rolling Stone talks about exactly that. But before I do so, we got to go all the way back to earlier today when the FCC chairman, who was appointed by Donald Trump, said this, quote, about Disney and ABC and Jimmy Kimmel. There's actions we can take on licensed broadcasters. It's long past the time that Comcast and Disney say, we're not going to run Kimmel anymore because we licensed broadcasters are running the possibility of fines or license revocation from the FCC. So he was threatening Disney, ABC, and all these different companies with removing their licenses if they don't cancel Jimmy Kimmel. So this is a request from the Trump administration. And then what do you know? ABC pulls Jimmy Kimmel off air for Charlie Kirk comments after FCC pressure. And there's more. ABC announced on Wednesday evening that it was pulling Jimmy Kimmel's late night show indefinitely after conservatives accused him of inaccurately describing the politics of the man who's accused of shooting Charlie Kirk. The abrupt decision by the network, which is owned by Disney, came hours after the chairman for the FCC assailed Kimmel and suggested that his regulatory agency might take action against ABC. The network did not explain its decision, but the sequence of events on Wednesday amounted to an extraordinary exertion of political pressure on a major broadcast network by the Trump administration. Trump, in a social media post, described ABC's move as great news for America, although he falsely asserted in all caps that the show had been canceled. It has not, but this is an accurate description by the New York Times. An abrupt decision that shows an extraordinary amount of pressure from the federal government. You might call it an authoritarian amount of pressure from the federal government. And also, they're not even trying to hide their attacks on free speech. When Brian Stelter, a journalist, asked the FCC chair if he had any new comment about ABC pulling Jimmy Kimmel's show, he sent this GIF of people celebrating. But look, as I mentioned, the Rolling Stone has some brand new reporting that essentially confirms what we all know about this story, that Donald Trump and his administration pressured ABC and Disney to cancel it, and executives at these companies knew that Jimmy Kimmel didn't say anything bad. They were just worried about possible political retribution from Donald Trump. According to Rolling Stone, in the hours leading up to the decision to pull Jimmy Kimmel, two sources familiar with the matter say senior executives at ABC, its owner Disney, and affiliates convened emergency meetings to figure out how to minimize the damage. Multiple executives felt that Kimmel had not actually said anything over the line, the two sources say, but the threat of the Trump administration and possible retaliation loomed. They bent the knee to Donald Trump. The federal government intervened with a private company to cancel somebody's show. That's the story here. Jimmy Kimmel didn't really say anything bad about Charlie Kirk. He was making fun of Donald Trump, but they're using it. Trump is using this as an excuse to go after somebody who he has targeted for a long time. And this article continues with a quote from one of these insiders, quote, "They were pissing themselves all day." And of course, as we all know, even before Trump won the election, he and some of his closest advisors had plotted on how to use the FCC and other powerful agencies to target late night comics who he did not like. And this is the, second, third, fourth, fifth time that ABC has bent the knee to Donald Trump. Just last year, they agreed to pay him $15 million to settle a BS lawsuit that he brought against them. These companies, these media companies, are not protecting us. I said this in my last video about Kimmel. This is why independent media, what we're doing here, is so important, because it's clear that when given the opportunity, these companies will bend. They will bend. And it just makes us worse off for it. But as I mentioned, this is just one instance. This is just the latest instance of Trump coming after freedom of speech. Let's look at some clips of Trump and members of his team from earlier this week making similar threats. Here's him talking to a journalist from Australia saying that essentially he's going to get them punished by the leader of Australia. Take a look.
That it is appropriate, President Trump, that a president in office should be engaged in so much business activity.
Well, I'm really not. My kids are running the business. I'm here. You know what the activity, where are you from?
I'm from the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, Four Corners program.
Well, the Australians, you're hurting Australia, right? In my opinion, you are hurting Australia very much right now. And they want to get along with me. You know, your leader is coming over to see me very soon. I'm going to tell him about you. You set a very bad tone. Go ahead, John. Okay.
Look, he's threatening this reporter who is asking about his business practices, which are incredibly unethical and have raised a number of questions surrounding Trump. He's threatening them with retribution from Australia's own leader. Dictatorial as hell, an infringement on freedom of speech. Here's another clip from Donald Trump in that exact same press conference. Take a look.
And what do you make Pam Bondi saying she's going to go after hate speech? Is that, I mean, a lot of your allies say hate speech is free speech.
She'll probably go after people like you because you treat me so unfairly. It's hate. You have a lot of hate in your heart. Maybe they'll come after ABC. Well, ABC paid me $16 million recently for a form of hate speech, right? Your company paid me $16 million for a form of hate speech. So
he said, maybe we should go after you for treating me unfairly. How much clearer does Donald Trump have to make it that he wants to come after people who are using their freedom of speech to either just simply ask him a question or say something that he does not like? He's saying it. He's saying it. MAGA will say, oh, don't call him a dictator. He's saying it. I mean, this is what authoritarian leaders do. And of course, the final clip I want to show you in all of this is Pam Bondi, the attorney general who should know the law, showing that she has no idea what she's talking about. Take a look.
There's free speech and then there's hate speech. And there is no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie, in our society.
Do you see more law enforcement going after these groups who are using hate speech and putting cuffs on people, so we show them that some action is better than no action.
We will absolutely target you, go after you if you are targeting anyone with hate speech, anything. And that's across the aisle.
Hate speech is protected speech. Hate speech can often be gross. It can often be disgusting. The majority of the time it is. It's hate speech, right? But it's entirely protected by the law. The federal government cannot prosecute you for saying something about somebody on their side that they do not like. They cannot do that. And I guess the Attorney General doesn't understand that. She's making it clear that if you do, they will prosecute you. From Kimmel, Colbert, to Pam Bondi, to Donald Trump, all of these different events that are happening paint me a perfect picture of Trump coming after our freedom of speech. It's clear as day. You can see it perfectly. There's no ambiguity. There's no nuance that we have to understand there. It's happening right in front of our eyes. So look, please share this message. I'll leave the video there. Make sure to subscribe to the channel below. Independent media is more important than ever. Drop a like on the video, comment, let me know what you think about this story. I'm really excited to hear from you guys. I love your comments. And as I always say, I greatly appreciate you, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.